this Sunday, we got a triple header for you, starting with the Colts and Ravens. Brian Baldinger, Compass Media, will be on the call for that one. He's set to join us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. We'll have Steelers and the Cowboys, followed by the Sunday night football game. A triple header Sunday, a Thursday night game, the Monday night football game. It's all right here on South Jersey's football station, 97.3 ESPN. Eagles at the bye week. We'll get some thoughts from Baldy on that, some NFL stuff as we're halfway through the season. The first place Eagles, mind you, 3-4-1. Brian Baldinger here from Compass Media. He joins us now on the Sports Bash Boardwalk on the hotline. Baldy, welcome back, pal. How are you been? Oh, there he goes.
Hard, so that's good, and that's really good because the season was seriously in doubt, and some weekends you kind of think it's still in doubt, but here we are, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, and by the way, some breaking news. The Eagles have received confirmation that a player tested positive for COVID just a couple of minutes ago. It looks like it was safety Marcus Epps. He is asymptomatic. The Eagles do have a bye this week, so that'll help out in that. But as you mentioned, it seems like they're getting it going. Game tonight is a little wonky with the whole situation there, but I want to get your thoughts on this Eagles 3-4-1 at the midway. And my question really is, are the Eagles 3-4-1 because they've had injury problems, or do they have personnel issues on this team?
No, I mean, there's some real personnel issues. Now, some of that is injury related, but, the quarterback has not played well. When you have 16 turnovers, attached to your name, the most in the league, I mean, that's a formula to lose. They lead the league with 17 turnovers this year. That puts them at the bottom of the charts. And so you lose to Washington. You tie Cincinnati, because of those type of things. And, they kept Dallas, one of the worst Dallas teams I've ever seen in my life. You keep them in the game last week at 9-7, almost all the way through the fourth quarter or into the fourth quarter because of the turnovers. And some of them were just inexcusable. So it's not a good formula. And if it doesn't stop, they're not going to win the division. I don't care. They just won't because nobody does when they lead the league in turnovers. You never win your division when you do that. So that's a big part of it. But then, they haven't played well at times and in spots. And, that's personnel and that's coaching and that's, just not good football at times.
5 years in, 8 games in, Carson Wentz. I mean, it's an enigma. What should Eagle fans in this organization be thinking about the former number 2 overall pick? Is he the guy you continue to move forward with, or are they starting to question whether he's their guy?
Well, I mean, you don't have a choice right now, so it's not like a long-term decision, on November 5th. When he throws it to Travis Fulgham, he looks like he could be the MVP of the league. When he throws it to almost anybody else, he looks a little bit lost. He's late. I'm not sure what he's looking at times, and he's been highly inaccurate to other guys. But when he throws it to Travis Fulgham, I mean, this guy looks like he did in 2017. So he trusts him, and he's got to. If you keep turning it over, you're just not going to be. You're not going to be a long-term answer. But if you keep taking hits, the way he takes the hits, because he doesn't deliver the ball on time, you see the open receiver. I mean, that kind of moves on. You kind of move on from that because usually most guys don't survive the type of hits that he has taken. Now he's built like a cyborg. He can take them, but nobody really survives the type of collisions that he has endured this season.
Should we be concerned with his statements? And I'm paraphrasing, but after the game against Dallas, he mentioned he's still going to be him. He's going to stay aggressive. He's going to give his teammates the opportunities. And when you think about him playing hero ball, that's one of the reasons why we are resulting in the errors that we are, experiencing. So, should we be concerned with him saying, I'm still going to be me, essentially?
Well, I think so. I think you should. I mean, I know it's just a statement. You can flip it any way you want, Mike, but I think you should be concerned because it seems like, and I'm not there, nobody's there every day, but it seems like he's been reluctant to hard coaching. He hasn't taken to it. I mean, that you can't design the offense to make it almost any easier at times than it has, and he just is making the game harder than it needs to be. There's always going to be some plays I don't care if you're Roethlisberger or Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. There's going to be some plays you gotta be a little bit of a hero. You gotta extend the play. You gotta do those things. But by and large, get the ball out of your hands, give it to the open receiver, put it in the right spot, because a great throw always beats great coverage. He has been reluctant to do that, and so I don't think that I'm just sitting here, with this kind of criticism. I mean, if the coaches aren't doing this with them, then they're not doing their job. So, I think he's got to sit there in his bye week and really kind of be a little bit introspective here about how much of this he has to change in his own game for this team to get the most out of it.
Brian Baldinger, of course, check out Baldy Breakdowns over on his Twitter page, Baldy NFL. He'll have the call this weekend right here on 97.3 ESPN. You'll hear our first game of the tripleheader, Colts and Ravens. Brian Baldinger will be on that call. You played the offensive line, obviously, so you know it well. The changes across this line, how much is that impacting the Eagles' offense and Carson's play?
I don't think as much as what you would think. I mean, I think that Jordan Mailata has played very well. You could take a handful of plays out of the last handful of games, and you like to have him over. He has played well. Nate Herbig has played well. Jason Kelce looks like Jason Kelce in any year that you've ever watched him. He looks as good as he's ever looked. Juggling guys around is never a great formula, and so if you are not running the ball effectively on first down, Doug's not going to stay with the run. And I think they get away from it too soon, but I don't blame them sometimes if you're going, gaining a yard on first down. I mean, it's tough in this league to run it on 2nd and 9. It's going to be hard for Doug to stay with it. So, and they've had injuries at the running back position, which has hurt this team. So, but I think overall, the offensive line has played pretty well. Now, Lane Johnson will get healthy. That ankle will get healed. And they're going to have a little bit more, I think, continuity the second half of the season. It's hard to lose Isaac Seumalo and Lane Johnson and Jason Peters, all those guys, not think that it's going to affect you. But I think overall, Driscoll, Herbig, Mailata, they played pretty well up front overall from really the whole season.
If this team is to kind of, they've been a better team in the second half the last couple of years. They've kind of made these late charges. Is this team capable of that? They got a brutal 5-game stretch coming up with that Cleveland, Seattle, Green Bay, New Orleans, Arizona. I mean, that's 5 games where they're probably going to be an underdog. But is there any signs to you, Baldy? You talked about the Cowboys game. They were terrible in that game. There was no sign to say, all right, this team. But is there anything to suggest that they can make another second-half run this season?
Well, I mean, look. Defensively, he couldn't play a whole lot better than they played tonight. But that wasn't an NFL offense with Ben DiNucci. I mean, he just doesn't belong in the league. So there's other leagues out there that Ben DiNucci can play, but not the NFL. But look, if you turn the ball over 4 times in any of these games, they're going to lose. Any of these teams, the Saints, you give Drew Brees 4 extra at bats, you're going to lose the game. So, but really, these teams in the league, everybody is beatable. Everybody. I mean, you saw Cincinnati beat Tennessee the other day, and they did it with 3, new offensive linemen. One was a rookie from Kansas. I've never seen a Kansas offensive lineman start. And and they whipped Tennessee in that game. The quarterback looked like Joe Montana. So any of these games are winnable if you play good football and you don't turn the ball over. In some of these games right now, Mike, you're getting 8 possessions in a game. If you're turning it over 2, 3, 4 times, you're really limiting your opportunities to score. And giving the other team a lot. Like I saw the Carolina Panthers get 6 possessions in a game a couple weeks ago. 6. I mean, normally you get 12, but the way these long drives go in this league and you eat up 8 minutes of clock, you just don't get the ball that much. And the Eagles aren't doing a good job of taking the ball away. So it comes down to really turnovers and really penalties. And if they can eliminate those, and I'm talking about Carson going not just a week, but going weeks without turning the ball over. If they can get to that part of playing football, then I think this team can start stacking some wins regardless of who they're playing.
Going back to the offensive line, do you think the Eagles made the right move by playing Jason Peters at left tackle instead of moving him to right guard and keeping Mailata since he had a couple games there and it seemed like he was getting into a rhythm?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think Jordan played well. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence got him once. I thought he played well at right tackle. I mean, I think he's a quality player. I think he could be a right tackle or a left tackle. I think he can play inside, but he's shown that he can play off the edge at left tackle. To me, I mean, I don't know that I'd make that move. Maybe they just thought that was the best 5 out there. Jason Peters going back to a position he's most really comfortable with. I think if they had to do it all over again, they might do that, Mike. Put Jason Peters in there at right guard. I mean, he's a better guard at this stage of his career than he is a tackle. And I think Jordan Mailata can flat out play in this league at left tackle. I see him being better than a lot of starting tackles in this league, and he started a handful of games. So I'm high on Jordan, and I think he's only going to get better.
Real quick, Brian Baldinger's with us. Don't forget, at Baldy NFL does a great job breaking down the film. Check out Baldy Breakdowns. I do want to get your opinion on Fulgham, because this guy has been the MVP of the offense. It's like these injuries, they found something. Did they find something with this kid? Is he a flash in the pan, or do you think this is a legitimate NFL receiver for the next 5 to 8 years here?
No. He's a starting receiver in this league. He looks like a younger, more athletic Alshon Jeffrey to me. I mean, he was a 6th-round pick out of Old Dominion. He was a walk-on there. He ran a relatively slow 4.58 40. That's where he gets drafted when you run that speed at wide receiver. But he's a big body who's smooth out of his breaks. He protects the ball well. He catches it away from his body. I mean, he's a starting receiver in this league. And there's a lot of guys like that in this league that run that speed, but they got big bodies. They know how to use it. They have good hands. And he loves, with the contested balls in this league that you got to throw, he comes down with his share. And so from that big spot against San Francisco on that Sunday night game, he's been the guy ever since, and I think he's going to be the guy all year.
Well, that's one good thing we saw in the first half of this season. We also saw some good teams. You're going to see 2 of them on Sunday. We'll have that game live on 97.3 ESPN. Ravens and Colts, both teams, right at the top of their divisions. The Colts tied with Tennessee. The Ravens, though, I guess they got to start proving to people that they can beat some of these higher upper echelon teams.
I agree. They lose to the Chiefs. They lose to the Steelers. They lose to Tennessee in the playoffs. You're right. I mean, these are the teams that you see in the playoffs. And so the Colts present a difficult problem defensively. The Steelers are good defense. They blistered the Steelers on the game, on the ground. They turned the ball over too many times last week. And so the Colts will present a lot of challenges. And the Ravens have some. I think they'll adjust just fine on the offensive line. Zeus can play left tackle. Ronnie Stanley, I think TJ Fluker, we find a right tackle. But they can find ways to win games against quality AFC opponents, because that's how the AFC in the playoffs is going to stack up.
He's Brian Baldinger, NFL Network, Compass Media, at Baldy NFL. Listen to him this Sunday. He'll be on the call as Compass Media presents the Ravens and the Colts on 97.3 ESPN. It's a good one. We have that. We've got Steelers and Cowboys, maybe not such a good game. And then the Sunday Nighter, all right here on your NFL Sunday. Baldy, always a pleasure, pal.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Absolutely. He, like August, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline.